Okay, we are live. Hi, this is William Ramsey. Welcome to William Ramsey Investigates. On today's show, a very special guest, returning guest. People who listen to my show will know his name. It's John Brisson, Brisson, and he runs the We've Read the Documents channel. He's very active on Substack, so I'll put a link to his Substack so people can check out all his excellent research. I was trying to figure out how many shows we've done.
I've lost count at this point.
It's over 20. I think I'm at 22 on a wide variety of subjects. We've done Michael Aquino. We've done just so many different shows. Let me see. I have the list up here before I shut down my computer. We've done shows on so many different subjects.
Theosophy, everything.
Barbara Marx Hubbard.
Everything.
That kind of ties into the subject of today's topic. Something that I came across that I found really unnerving, and actually was kind of like a lot of people listened to it on my social media. On X, people, like, there was over 80,000 listens in the last couple of weeks to this video, which I'm going to play from this guy Shawn Ryan. To me, he kind of appeared out of nowhere. He has this, I mean, he's done the number one podcast in the world. Like, he's up there with Carlson and Rogan. And he had this guy Chris Bledsoe, who I knew nothing about.
I know about Chris. I got a lot to say about Chris.
Okay, good. I'm glad. I'm kind of learning. I haven't read his book, which is called The UFO of God, which to me is right off the bat blasphemy, but we can get into that. But this thing for me is somebody who's studied a lot of the occult for my interest. I'm not an occultist, people, and people online who keep saying to me, like, why do you look into this? It's because you're like Ephesians 5:11 says, have nothing to do with the unfruitful works of darkness, but expose them. Yep. And it's right in the beginning of my Children of the Beast book, that biblical statement. So maybe it's not for every Christian or every Bible believer or whatever your denomination is. But I think because these people are making decisions for us that impact us, and they have a different worldview, it's important to know, like, know the secret things of the devil. I think it's in Revelation or these other things. Like, I mean, if you go back and read the New Testament, there's all kinds of like exorcism and like get behind me, Satan, and adversarial. And
there's a spiritual realm.
There's a spiritual realm, and there's a darkness thing. So I don't mind the criticism, but like some of these people, I don't know if we're reading from the same Bible, or they've expurgated something, or you're not taking these impressions, or maybe you really don't have a biblical worldview. I don't know. But anyway, so that's why just to like get that off my chest, like that's why I look into these things. Like a lot of the stuff I didn't know much about, but I'm going to quote from Children of the Beast today, because this lady thing ties into your and my show that we did on the plan, QAnon, and the externalization of the hierarchy.
Yep.
And this is right in front of your face. This guy Shawn Ryan loves the one eye, like I have Horus one eye symbolism on his show, and you sent me a list of even more guests who are sketchy or as sketchy or sketchier than this guy Bledsoe. But I want to play this clip, and then we can kind of talk about it. So here it is.
Alignment will happen. Exact alignment will happen in 2026 at Easter.
What will happen?
The alignment she told me about, that the star of Regulus would be on the horizon in front of the Sphinx. At that moment, there'd be a new knowledge. Well, I had no idea if this was even possible, but these astronomers run it through the machines, and it comes out that star is going to come up on the horizon in Easter of 2026. And from that point forward, they started remote viewing the state. Government did. And now you hear it all over TV. 2026, that's the big date. 2027, that year, something's going to happen. Armageddon, you hear it all over. You hear it on TV. If you study, like I've heard even. Well, I won't say names, but
please do.
Well, Lou Elizondo, right? Lou's mentioned that date. A lot of people have.
Easter 2026.
Well, the year 2026. I gave him the specific time. And it was with Robert Grant that I told him about this alignment and all. And then he's like, oh my God. He's been looking for this ruby. This little ruby you have to find and place it between the paws of the Sphinx to make this event that he knows is going to happen in 2026. I said, Robert, it's not a ruby, it's the star of Regulus. And he looks like, he's like, oh my God, that's It's the King's story. So what's going to happen, I don't know. But I think it's possible that's the return of
Christ.
Yeah. Or the lady and the whole heavenly host living with us, Jesus. That's the first time I've ever said that in my life publicly. You're the first.
So that is an introduction for people who haven't heard this guy, Chris Bledsoe or Ryan. Ryan has about, I think, 170 episodes, but he's had some very interesting people on there. But that's jam-packed. That 4 minutes is like all kinds of things. Remote viewing, UFOs, Easter, 2026, the Star of Regulus, Elizondo tied into the UFO community, who's hyper glows like this guy. He's off the charts. Now, I don't know who glows more in the UFO community, but the lady, like, that is great. Like, that's part of the Great White Brotherhood, or the externalization, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I got a lot to say about this.
Okay.
And the reason why I got a lot to say about this is because I'm from Fayetteville, North Carolina. Actually, if we're really going to be specific, Hope Mills, North Carolina, okay, which is the south of Fayetteville, North Carolina. All right. And well, I know the Bledsoe family because they've lived here for years. And I've talked about it in a previous stream that I've done, that there's a UFO cult in my hometown. Because my neighbor, who I'm not going to name because he's not doing a podcast, he's not out there in the open, okay, grew up and knew the Bledsoes, knew Chris Bledsoe Jr., okay? So, like, this has been going around that they saw. I don't know what happened. All right. Like, to me, I think that it was either some sort of Fort Bragg military mind control, because Fort Bragg ain't too far off, okay, the area of where it was. Like, if you believe the story of the Bledsoe family, Chris Bledsoe Sr., they had a farm. They were, I guess you could call it a farm. They were, pretty successful and well-known throughout the town, okay? And, he had, I don't remember exactly what autoimmune condition that he was suffering from. He was pretty sick or whatever. But during the 2007 financial crisis, around that time, that's when he so-called in the woods got visited by the quote-unquote lady. Okay. And they were supposedly born-again Christians before that. Supposedly, allegedly, they went to church. Like, again, like, I knew, like, Chris Bledsoe Jr.'s cameraman, who did a lot of his podcasts, Ferminides, like, I grew up with his brother. I knew his brother really well. I'm not going to out him because he's not a, he's not in the public sphere, but I knew his brother. That was who I knew the most out of all of them. So for them, for the Bledsoe family, to be like, I had this experience, and then for Chris Bledsoe Sr. to be on Ancient Aliens, okay, for him to, co-author a book with one of the UFO deceptions pushers himself, who is a New Ager, who's in line with Bart Marx Hubbard, Colonel John B. Alexander, right? Like, I don't know if he was being used for an op. I don't know if he was opt. Obviously, I think he's under some sort of spiritual delusion. I don't think he ever was a born-again Christian. Sad for him to fall for such a delusion as this, okay? And it's where it's a sign of the times. For Shawn Ryan, who claims to be a professed born-again Christian, yet a baby Christian, but still a professed one, right? And a lot of the shows and topics he's covered, and we're going to talk about some of those people that I dug up as well, too, that I know very well from my own study, just like you got people as well, too, that you're going to mention and stuff like that and everything. Like, he should have immediately been like, dude, what are you talking about? the whole interview, he should have been antagonistic, or at least a very, preach the gospel, like the biblical like message, like against what Chris Bledsoe Sr. was saying, right? But there was nothing. There was no pushback. It was all, you could say that, and also Chris Bledsoe is saying the return of the lady. I'm the no, it's been stuff that he's been saying for a long time. It wasn't broken on Shawn Ryan's podcast. All right, that's silly. Okay, so like, I did do some more investigating than I did after my first stream. Maybe I'll do another stream on it, William. I don't know. It's like when we were covering Michael Aquino and my shed got broken into, my shed office got broken into, right? It's like, did I really make some of those JSOC boys mad going after Michael Aquino? I don't know. All right. So like, this is in my backyard, not to use one of those crude statements, but you don't crap where you eat. So it's like, really, should I, investigate it to its fullness, or can I just, talk about it with you, do one stream on it, put it out there that this is new age, this is deceptive, this is Gnostic, and just be done with it, because it's literally right here, so it's like, and I did a lot of streams on Aquino. We did a lot of work on Aquino together, and it's like, do I really want to keep kicking that, bee's nest, So
Right. It's a good question. I mean, this is like a big op. Like, this guy's Alexander, and Ryan is, like I said, one of the top podcasters, networked. He's networked with other big guys, other UFO fanatics like Rogan, right? Rogan has that Joe Rogan experience. It's a huge UFO behind him. If you look at it right, there's the UFO and the light goes over Joe Rogan's head, right?
Yeah.
From the right perspective.
Yeah.
So, and also the same kind of things that you sent me, which are also an interest in psychedelics, right? So psychedelics is huge, is PTSD. And I think Rogan did the spirit molecules, DMT. So these are like very intense. You see overlaps between Ryan and Rogan that are, for me, unsettling.
Yes, and you have, like I said, Chris Bledsoe working with John B. Alexander kind of pushing the alien deception narrative and being very popular in alternative media, and kind of pushing it and stuff like that and everything. So, with the 2025 externalization of hierarchy, when, supposedly, allegedly, the white hats, the Great White Lodge, whatever term you want to use, the ascended masters, but the ones who have incarnated in human form, okay, which I don't believe any of that. That's just what, Alice Bailey would say in her writing collection of essays of externalization of hierarchy. They're supposed to unveil themselves to the world, right, and bring in some sort of peaceful utopia, which us as Christians would say, well, that's the Antichrist and the beast system, the false prophet, right? But I'm just saying, so it's like, but they say this year is the year where that is unveiled to the world for you to see it. Okay, now, so far it looks like that we're on track, but we'll see. But so far it looks like, we're definitely getting, quote unquote disclosure of Epstein, of JFK, even though we have some battles right now. So I've heard that the DOJ don't want to release those files, right? So you're going to get, on this season of America, William, you might as well get your popcorn out, because they tell you, the QAnon operation tells you to join the show, right? So you might as well get your popcorn out, because there's going to be a battle. And we all know that when those records are released, are we going to know every single person that truly was, involved with the Epstein nexus and everybody who was truly blackmailed? No, it's going to be sanitized. They're going to set up whoever they want to fall, and they're going to allow whoever they want to continue to not be on those lists.
It's so true. They're already slow rolling it right now. They've been in office over 30 days. Like, that was on all this stuff, UFOs, JFK, Epstein, all that stuff. They apparently the thing to release all the Epstein files, like, you must release all these files. And then there was a subwriter, I haven't seen this and confirmed it, but the subwriter said, and you can use your own agency discretion. So it's like, so publicly they can say, release all the files, but it's really up to you what you want to release. So it's for the public consumption.
Seems about right to me. Seems about right.
I just did, I don't know if you saw this, but I just did a show with Loomis kind of covering all this stuff, like these emerging technologies. 2025 is their year.
Yes.
So it's almost like this year's coming together. And in the Alice Bailey's externalization of the hierarchy, the externalization happens, and then you said that's utopia. They use this term, the golden age.
Yes.
So when the lady shows up, it's going to be a golden age for humanity. So listen to this. This is literally, I think, the second day he got into office. Listen to this and tell me what you think. I don't know if you've seen this video yet, but this to me is really incredible. And there's a lot of issues with Trump, but we've done shows with Trump about like the Holy Land and stuff like that.
It will be the most exciting and successful period of reform and renewal in all of American history, maybe of global history. The golden age of America, I call it. It's begun. So it's the golden age of America, and that's what it's going to be. And we hope we don't have any intervening problems, because things happen. Like out of nowhere came the China virus. Out of nowhere came other things we don't want to have. You know, when I left, we had no wars. We had no problems. The Middle East was good. We did the Abraham Accords. We did things that nobody thought were even possible.
Golden age repeats it twice.
So that's what he brings up, the golden age and the Abraham Accords, right? You know, and these constantly, have you seen the AI Trump Gaza video that he pinned to Truth Social today? Did you see that?
Somebody's told me about it. Is that him as a golden idol in Gaza?
Let me see if I get it. You got to share. We got to get. We got to get your reaction to it, because it's crazy.
I took a screenshot of it and put it in. So it wasn't on his X, because I was trying to find it, because I'm not on Truth Social. But I took a screenshot. It's in my slides, so maybe I can just pop over there. There's Alexander. Is this it?
That is it. So you want to play the video? Cool. It's insane. It's only 32 seconds. Okay.
I wonder. Let me see. I don't know where I would find it.
I got it. I can send it in the chat right now.
Okay. Cool. And we know this dude loves gold. Like, we know he has a gold toilet.
Yes, just like the Antichrist loves gold as well too. So.
Right, and you've always been suspicious of Trump. Like,
correct.
You've been on Trump, like, so. People don't start sending me stuff that I'm MAGA or whatever, please, or John for sure.
No, I never. You and we've both criticized Trump. You know, it's. I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, if you can find that, yeah. So this is it. Somebody was telling me about this. 2025, going back to this theme, golden age. There's a lot going on. There's a huge invocation through the lose. While you're looking for this, I'm just going to tell people about this.
I put it in the chat whenever you get a chance, but don't lose your train of thought.
Okay, got it. Okay.
This is going to upset a lot of the audience and upset you as well, just as I was upset about it.
All right, let me see. Okay, let me see if I can bring this up. This is from the great Derek Bros. Literally, Epstein's still around. That was one of my first interviews on Epstein, was talking to Derek Bros. 2018, I think. I cannot.
Wow, that's a long time ago.
Sure is. Amazing. Okay, I won't have. Maybe I can download it. It won't have audio, folks, but I apologize.
There's not much audio to it. There's just a song that's just discussing, like, it talks about, like, Trump, Gaza, golden. You know, there's some
2025. Yeah, it did. 2025 again. Wow. What's next? It says, they're going into a paradise.
Yes, a redone technological Gaza with Teslas. There's Elon Musk.
Gonna set you free, bringing the light for all to see.
Yes. There's transsexual Arab belly dancers on the beach.
Wow.
There's Trump dancing. There's Elon Musk throwing money up.
A brand new light, so people are going to get rich. This is like all the Temptations or something.
Mm-hmm.
Trump Gaza shining bright. Wow. That weird gold. You
can buy Trump statues in gold. There's Trump and BB sipping drinks by Trump Gaza pool.
Wow. That's crazy. That's mind-blowing. Holy smokes.
So that's now, I'm not saying this will happen, but if it does, if Trump Gaza quote unquote happens and you have Trump Palace, then I do believe, hold on, let me see from the
See, Musk is everywhere in this, and we know Gnostic and his wife is all involved in, like, the bring me the horizon, all kinds of crazy. It's ex-wife.
You said you were up till 4 in the morning.
Yeah,
So-
actually, a little.
Here's another one. I'll play this. Tell me what you think about this. Have you seen this clip? This is of
Maybe
Musk.
not. No.
Okay, you'll probably find this interesting.
You said you were up till 4 in the morning.
Yeah,
So-
actually, a little more like 5 in the morning. But
Okay.
we got the XAI data center or supercomputer center training from beginning installation to start of training in 19 days, which is the fastest that anyone has ever gotten a supercomputer
Interesting number, 19.
to train.
And is that in that new building off to the side?
Tennessee.
That's in Memphis, actually.
And you told me this character on the left was part of the UN at one point. or was
That's Jordan
writing-
Peterson. Yep, he was writing directly under sustainable development under John Podesta. Peterson was.
That just blows your mind, man. I was just looking through my Podesta files today. It's an encyclopedia. Like, that guy's all over the place.
Oh,
And
yes.
very much involved in, like you said, sustainable development, but the climate change scam where they just loot everybody and loot the people, like enslave us through climate scam. But listen to this.
Memphis.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's where you were.
Yeah.
I see.
Memphis,
Okay.
the capital of ancient Egypt.
Right. Yeah, you're bringing.
This guy's from McGill. See those repetitive phrases? I actually am so paranoid that I think that this is all set up and they know what they're going to talk about. And
Oh, yeah.
and that Peterson is repeating these positive phrases over, like Trump does, right? Repeats these things. We're in a golden age. It's a golden age now. Right. So I think he's right.
Perhaps that's where our new God will come from.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
I think those repetitive phrases.
You said you were up till 4 in the morning.
Yeah,
So-
actually, a little more like 5 in the morning. But
Okay.
we got the XAI data center or supercomputer center training from beginning installation to start of training in 19 days, which is the fastest that anyone has ever gotten a supercomputer to train.
And is that in that new building off to the side?
That's in Memphis, actually.
It's in Memphis.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's where you were.
Yeah.
I see.
Memphis,
Okay.
the capital of ancient Egypt.
Right. Yeah, you're bringing what?
Perhaps that's where our new God will come from.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
Look at Peterson's what he's wearing too. It's some kind of like
Icon, like orthodoxy or
Christian,
Catholic
right.
iconography like suit. He's got these weird suits. He's got one that's like heaven and hell where it's like blue colored on one side and like red colored on the other, if I remember correctly. Peterson is, he actually, there's a video that I critiqued a long time ago where he was blaming the kids in McMartin preschool and saying that as a psychologist, he had studied it. And this is before he ever became famous with podcasts or anything like this. This is when he was still teaching psychology in, I forgot what university in Canada. But he was,
McGill. I think it's McGill, you and Cameron, same
okay,
place.
so he was going around and saying that, well, it's just they gave him candy and the police bribed them for their stories of pedophilia and stuff like that and everything. And I'm like, okay, we're just gonna blame the kids, aren't we, Jordan? So
I think when he went from McGill to Harvard and he was in the same kind of like psychology department that Leary was. So this guy, wow.
he took over in the same office that Leary had, right? If I remember correctly,
I don't
right?
know if that's true.
I think so. I think he had talked about that. Let me find that, but I think he had talked about that in the past, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, John saying Trump's son-in-law, I think that's Kushner, started research development ops in Gaza as soon as the bombing started.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is just crazy. This nexus of all these strange events. So, I was trying to pull this up. You had already done that. Let's see. Share screen.
Yes, he held the same position. He even had the same office as Leary did at one time. Leary wasn't,
That ties into my Children of the Beast stuff that I'll bring up right now. Like, this Children of the Beast is my best reviewed book. Like, most people liked it. I always got terrible reviews from Obama on my West Memphis 3 book, but that was because I made so many people hate me for that book. They just couldn't stand. This is from Lucis Trust, right? So this is Bailey. This is literally taking place. This is they're calling it the Gemini Festival Meditation Media. Christ's festival. I recognize my other self, and in the waning of that self, I grow and glow. Wow. This is not Christian, people.
No, not at all. Anytime you hear the Christ instead of Jesus Christ, you should set off alarm bells. Christ just means Christos, the anointed one, the Messiah, so for them, anybody can be the Messiah, so you can be God, So.
Right. The festival of the Christ is celebrated at the time of the full moon of Gemini. So they like these moon phases.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this guy was talking about, like Regulus, Easter. That's Chris Bledsoe. But this is the World Invocation Day. Interesting date, June 11th. Wow, there's an 11 again. Where else have we seen a lot of 11s? Could that be 9/11?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's in New York. So this will be in
Geneva, Switzerland, and London. And again, the invocation is for light workers, quote unquote, to get together and to pray certain theosophical prayers for the externalization of the hierarchy and the plan to be unveiled to the world. That's what the great invocation is. It's satanic, but
it's Luciferian, like it's that kind of Satanism. I mean, but there's the moon phases. I don't know if this video, they're going to usurp the Christian God. So they're having this thing. This is Brazil. This is their world,
Right there. Go back. The lighting they had from the center, which we call the human race. Let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. The plan of love and light is the plan. I've done so many streams on the plan of love and light. The plan. Laura from Magical Mystery Church has done a lot of research on it. Constance Cumby's done a lot of research on it. Tex Mars wrote an excellent book on it as well, and did a lot of research on it. There are numerous statements of the plan of love and light. Let the plan of love and light work out. That is straight evil, and that is the externalization of hierarchy, where the plan is unveiled. The seated masters, quote unquote, are unveiled to the world. To usher in the utopian. It's crazy because the QAnon operation literally is directly from theosophy. Like, you can't separate the two in the language.
It's the same terminology, that Great Awakening, right?
Yep the plan, the Great Awakening, all of it, it's all in there. They even had a so-called prayer. See if I might be able to bring it up as one of the Q drops about JFK, and it was alluding to bringing in the plan of love and light and stuff like that. Like, it was a straight theosophical prayer. It wasn't even anywhere close to a Christian prayer, But I mean, that's what the QAnon operation is. It is to drive people to the false Great Awakening, to drive people in to the translation of the hierarchy.
Didn't we play that one with the general where he was?
Yeah, Flynn.
Flynn was copying that stuff from that one false Christian
Elizabeth Clare Prophet.
Yeah. Somebody caught him. It's bad. And this is the same language that was just in that Trump video we just played, right? The lights out. It's like there, and then Trump's glorified as this golden god. Oh my God! Have you ever seen? Did I show you the Trump Tesseract video? Or did I show that?
No, I don't think so. Now, interesting. One last thing. It says in the tracks of Hercules there. That's interesting. It says on the left-hand corner where what
it says.
I'm just curious real quick what it says. It's just a creative art project.
A book by Alice Bailey.
Another book I've never read, The Labors of Hercules. Interesting. Okay, never mind then.
Special event was held in London in 2005. She put out a lot of work, so. But this is really something else, this Festival of Humanity World Invocation Day. We'll probably have to do another show on this. But it's interesting. You said the plan. That was the name of our episode that we did. The plan, QAnon, and externalization of the hierarchy. This is it. And then they love this moon chart stuff. Like, they have moons, and they tie all their stuff to the time of the moon charts. Like, okay.
Yeah, click their New York meeting agenda real quick, or Geneva doesn't. But they have weird keys for the principle, right? Where they mention I recognize my other self, and in the waning of that self I grow and grow. I am the mother and the child. I, God, I matter and am. I see the goal, I reach the goal, and then I see another. So a lot of it's kind of new thought and human potential platitudes mixed in with theosophy and new age beliefs. It's very occultic.
Yeah, wow. Right there, Lucis Trust, 866 United Nations Plaza. Wow. Unbelievable. This is happening. It's happening. It goes back to this guy, Bledsoe. Let me go through these slides. Shawn Ryan, Bledsoe, million listens. This is fairly recent. The Bledsoe thing dropped February 3rd, 2025. So, but this is from the research. If I can just read this, this is from Loomis of Chant It Down. And so this is after the externalization.
Yes, this is in the externalization of the hierarchy. I've read this on my channel many times previously beforehand.
You want to read it? You can do it. Cool.
Yeah, if you want me to.
Sure.
Thus, a great and new movement is proceeding, and tremendously increased interplay and interaction is taking place. This will go on until AD 2025. During the years intervening between now and then, very great changes will be seen taking place. And at the great assembly of the hierarchy, held at usual every century, in 2025, the date in all probability will be set for the first stage of the externalization of the hierarchy. The present cycle from now until this date is called technically the stage of the forerunner. Okay. It is preparatory in nature, testing in its methods, and intended to be revelatory in its techniques and results. So right now, according to that, people were being prepped through media. You could look at the 7 mountains of Nar, right? And you have the almost very identical to like the teachings of theosophy, right? So through media, through culture, through government, through these various quote unquote spheres that they're called in theosophy, and the Nar, they're called mountains, through finance and the other ones, people are through the stage of the forerunner being prepared for the externalization of the hierarchy. Okay. And it says, you can see therefore the Chohans, the masters, the initiates, the world disciples and aspirants affiliated with the hierarchy are all this time passing through a cycle of great activities. So, you have like your disciples, what they call your light workers. These are people like formerly myself, when I was a New Ager, when I was a theosophist in my belief system, just going out there and in preaching this false gospel to the world, right? Spreading Gnosticism, spreading New Age beliefs and stuff like that. And then from there, you kind of have like their lists of who they are. And then you get the Chohans, which I believe the Chohans are demons. You have one, for example, which is the 7th Chohan, which is actually Maha. Make America Healthy Again is Maha Chohan, which is the false Holy Spirit in Theosophy, which is the 7th spirit. Okay. So again, did they get the term Maha specifically? Because most people say Maha Bone in Freemasonry. I don't think they did. I think they got it from Maha Chohan, which is a theosophical term for the false Holy Spirit. Okay. And I did a whole broadcast on that on my channel. So,
Where people listen to your show, just for people?
I got my YouTube channel back.
Oh, nice.
So
recently?
Yeah, I put in one line. I was able to repeal. I put one line. I'll rail against Elon Musk and Donald Trump until they kill me. And that was either acceptable
that
or,
was the key.
that was one line. I didn't put nothing. I wasn't going to make because every other appeal I had like paragraphs of why they should reinstate me. Right. So for this one, I was like, yeah, why not? Just write one line, and then I got it back. I don't know for how long, but I got it back, so I guess I would assume some progressive read it and was like, okay.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to I have like 3 channels missing. Like they're gone.
So that's all I said. One line was just literally that. And it was acceptable terms of service, I guess. So I was like, okay. Cause I thought about it. I was like, most people just make paragraphs that people don't read, right? Including myself. Right. So I was like, well, maybe it's like some sort of battle contract, William, where maybe it wasn't a progressive, maybe like, some tech bro read it and he was like, well, he gave us his signature for the FEMA camps, so might as well let him go until we go get him.
That's so funny. That's so funny because like I have records in my like files of the 50 times I've emailed YouTube to get my channel back, like begging, pleading. Why did this happen? Like I should just do a show.
It's the same with me, questioning them. Like, what did I do? Like, can you specific? I've done the same thing a couple of times. At least 3 or 4 times. But this time it finally popped back up. So I was like, what? I'm not going to waste the time. I'm just going to be cut to the chase. It's like I read the terms of service contract. I rail against Elon Musk and Donald Trump until they kill me. Got it back.
That's so great. I'm doing that. After we get on, it's going to be done tomorrow. I'll see what happens. It's like you figured the passcode to like the Mines of Moria or something like that. I don't know what this is. What are we supposed to do? What's the key to these people's minds? I will rail against Donald Trump.
It was enough. Like I go back and forth. Like, was it progressive or was it a tech pro? I don't know. I'll never know, William. But it worked. It was the only thing that ever worked. And I started getting push notifications for my YouTube. So not only did they give it to me back, I was no longer shadow banned.
Wow.
So we'll see how long I stay on, but it was interesting nonetheless.
There's a good downloader. You can download everything and put them somewhere else on Substack or something.
Yeah, I was able to do that.
Okay, that's good.
But yeah, I mean, I've been reading Alice Bailey for a while. I've read the externalization of the hierarchy at least twice, all the way through. It is like 500 plus pages. I don't remember exactly how many pages it is. It's like a whole collection of numerous essays that she wrote. Some of it herself. A lot of it, as we've talked about, was automatic written. Was she's being demonically possessed and oppressed. Again, ultimately, I believe it's on God's timetable. Instead of these demons. Now, do I think the externalization of the hierarchy is happening this year? Well, it appears that it is, but we'll see. It may not, but it appears like it is. So we might have some end of the year show where we're like, well, it happened or it didn't happen.
Or but it doesn't. They have to make, like, he's talking about a new God. So what if that coincides with this externalization where they have something happen in the sky, like the drone? Or I don't even know. They could try to really fake something. I don't know, but. All of that, like you said, all of these different servitors are working towards getting this concept out in the public. And this is Shawn Ryan. And like you said earlier, he just sat there and nodded along. Like, these guys that gets staged. Like these are I think these are like stage interviews where they're
no, has to be in that regard, especially if someone's supposed born again, even a baby Christian. Even a baby Christian would have been like, huh? What? What are you talking about, lady? Like what? Really. But like, but I mean, as I digged into Shawn Ryan and listened to a lot of his podcasts for the podcast that we're doing together, and the people that he was having on, and we can go through some of them that, and the thing that made him big was because, Shawn Ryan was a former Navy SEAL, he became a CIA contractor. You could say literally he wasn't Navy intelligence like Bannon, but he was Navy intelligence, right? So, he worked with Blackwater, and his show wasn't really getting any traction until he interviewed the Blackwater guys that I believe, I think some of them later got pardoned by Trump, if I remember correctly. Right. Yeah. Episode 11, right? Yeah. So that was the one that made him famous. This was the episode, because if you look at his previous episodes before episode 11, they were just him talking to military guys or him just, talking himself. Like he wasn't really anywhere. But then Eric Prince, because his former connections to Blackwater, he got platformed after he had the Blackwater guys on. And then ever since, and you can see that he started getting high profile guests. My guess is he's always been somewhat in, but this is when they were like, okay, you were able to do this. You were able to cover for the crimes of Blackwater. Now you proved yourself. Now we're going to reward you. That's my guess. If you look at the trajectory of his podcast, I could be wrong. I'm speculating there, but that's what it looks like.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. And I mean, this is like this one guy, Benz. There's a lot of questions about this dude. Somebody said this guy had like his grandfather worked for James Jesus Angleton.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And he's around like talking about USAID. So when these guys work themselves into places, they can really shape. They're really influencers and perception shapers, much like Eric Weinstein. I think we've talked about him, and those guys are all in that same kind of group. Like, oh yeah, this is a war against Gaza. No, you're just murdering people left and right. There's your buddy Alexander, right? So he's on.
Oh yeah. So right after Chris Bledsoe, if you look at I'll let me bring up his episodes. Okay. He had Colonel Alexander like literally like right like within the same time period.
So just this month, February 2025, right?
Yeah, it was around that time where he platformed both of them, and I was like, wow, really? This is what, so there has to be some sort of agenda there at that moment to have them both on relatively around the same time, like you have to be pushing some sort of, alien deception agenda. there, to borrow that line from John from E511 Ministries, like it to me, it seems like that's what's going on. I can't, completely confirm that, but it looks like that to be the case. So he had, do you got the Palmer Luckey clip? That one is a doozy.
Yeah, let me see if I can find that. He had Pasulka, Elizondo, and
which is pushing the
Bledsoe.
false. They're all pushing the false alien deception.
Right, yeah, all right next to each other. Let me see if I can pull this
So
up.
Bledsoe, Pasulka went after Bledsoe, and
this is it. So no, this is all very recent. 1 million views for Bledsoe, then Pasulka right after that, then Elizondo,
and then Louis Elizondo. So all pushing the false alien deception. Then Vivek Ramaswamy, then Mike Benz, who I believe there's been allegations that he's working with Mossad. Okay, still, and then Palmer Luckey, which I could say talk about Palmer Luckey in a whole show, Andrew Industries, and so, it seems to me
that's
that he's
Teal, right? That's Teal.
Yes, it is Teal. It is Teal. Yes. So to me, it seems like he's primarily pushing kind of like the Prince network of people, but he does seem like he's also pushing some of the Teal people too. Now, I don't know if like Teal and Prince are somewhat competing on a carnal level, because Prince had his own phone and wanted to enter into the tech world as well too. I don't know, but it seems to be kind of pushing certain people that, like I said, Ryan was kind of pushing more of the military industrial complex, false alien disclosure, people. And then he was also pushing, if you scroll further down, he had Rick Doblin on a lot, who runs Maps. Matthew North, who passed away, who I believe committed suicide, did a lot of research in,
so he had Matthew North on his show?
No, he didn't.
Oh.
Matthew North did a lot of work exposing Maps and Rogan and everything, and he had Rick Doblin on, which I continued Matthew North's work on Maps. And, found, that Doblin literally was saying that they were going to use ketamine to cure PTSD in soldiers so that they can immediately jam a gun back into their arms and send them immediately back to war. So there's no like, psychological processing, or there's no like faith-based counseling or anything like that for soldiers or anything like that. No. Instead, it's get a ketamine drip. And even it was crazy is you have Peter Thiel funding all those ketamine clinics. There's one here in Fayetteville where they send the soldiers. Okay. They put them in a metaverse using an Oculus, which Palmer Luckey invented, right? So they put them in virtual reality. They give them ketamine drips. Okay. Where they're literally, they so-called say living 15 years in 30 minutes is what they're saying. Okay.
Wow.
And so they come out with no PTSD, supposedly ready to go back overseas in some sort of super soldier program. Okay. That's Rick Doblin. He said it himself. I have it where he said it. Okay.
Wow.
The man is evil. I call him Rick Goblin. All right. He was one of the main people as far as Maps is concerned. I've covered Maps and his connections to the CMP and everything, but that's evil. That's evil because you don't care about the soldiers. And here, me living in Fayetteville, there are tons of soldiers that fall through the net. The government doesn't care about them once they retire out of the military, especially if they're disabled. There's a lot of homeless veterans around here. Okay. And a lot of people look down on them, but they, whether they serve this, corrupt government or not, they did it thinking they were doing good. They don't deserve to be left out, broken out in the streets, starving, and because they have all these issues, But they're telling them we'll fix them with ketamine. It's evil,
right?
It's
and some kind of mind control, mind control thing with a Oculus thing on their head. Jeez, that's like intense, like drugs and thing. That's like the next.
Thiel's funding it all. He's funding it all.
That's mind-blowing. All right, so let's do let's present some more video. This is Elizondo ramping up the kind of tension that something's going to happen. Let's see.
You have also a very major event, which I'm not going to discuss here right now because it's going to be evident anyways, probably within the next week or two, maybe even sooner. But there's some very, very big revelations coming our way. And what I would suggest to everybody is have a little patience, because I think it's really going to be mind-blowing. I know what's coming. And the reason why I sometimes can't say certain things is because I have to let things play out.
Right. So he's like, they are just constantly ramping things up. Something big's going to come. Something happens.
Bledsoe's case, he's one who's having interactions with orbs on a continuous basis. It appears as if this is some form of communication that we don't understand, but he has a telepathic communication with them. Now, one of the things that they did, the program called Beyond Skinwalker Ranch has a set on Chris. Near the end, what they do, this really blew them away. David Broadwell, who was orchestrating this, got a hold of a guy, and they have a EEG helmet. They've got Chris outside. Chris is there. He's pointing to orbs that are moving around. They're photographing the orbs. The brain waves shift tremendously when he's doing this communication with the orbs.
What kind of communication is Bledsoe having with these orbs?
Oh, he calls them and sees them almost daily.
He calls them and they come in.
Yeah.
Drones, orbs, Fort Bragg being right down the street. Colonel John B. Alexander still can't, leave behind the glory days of the Special Forces with his little Ranger shirt on. All right, we're supposed to believe in all this, right? And Shawn Ryan's not pushing against him at all. He's just accepting it as fact. It's sad. Right. It truly is sad.
Yeah, it's something else. Watch this one. This is a woman, and I don't know I think this is the one you sent me. Is this the one about the crucifixion?
I believe so, yes.
Okay,
tried to look into religion at all, such as the crucifixion? Do you have? Do you not want to talk about that? Okay. Do you want to talk about, you had mentioned you had a UFO experience.
Yeah, but I was 13 years old.
So she's a remote viewer. He doesn't want to talk about, she doesn't say anything positive and then wants to go back to UFOs. So whatever.
Exactly, yes. And on top of that, she worked in the CIA Project Stargate, right? Which now we have Operation or Project Stargate with the artificial intelligence with Ellison, Sam Altman, and Maso Ma's son, right? So, they're kind of, bringing that back up. So it's very interesting. You have Project Stargate. I think it was John McMoneagle brings it up on Shawn Ryan's podcast as well. So they're very much McGonigal. I'm horrible with names, but yes, there you go. Joe McMoneagle, CIA Project Stargate. So they're pushing remote viewing. They're pushing divination, which is, a sin. God calls it out in the Bible. It opens you up to demonic possession if you're not a believer. And if you're trying to do it as a believer, you should not be. It opens you up to demonic oppression, so it's like, why? This is the whole, men stare at goats, right. Project, right? So it's like, with Shawn Ryan being a Christian, again, they keep using the term baby Christian, right? No one's ever told him that, occultism and divination are sin, so it's like, really, this is what we're doing.
Isn't that elementary? Kind of Old Testament, New Testament?
Yes. It's usually known very, within at least a few months.
What's the other British guy who infuses kind of new age stuff? He's kind of like a celebrity. What's his name? He was formerly a comedian.
Russell Brand.
Russell Brand, thank you. So it's kind of like that kind of stuff.
Yes, very much so.
You see these guys out there, you just kind of go shake your head a little bit. Wow. Crazy stuff. I just wanted to follow up too about Bailey's idea of a golden age, because that's tied to the reappearance of the Christ. So the externalization of the hierarchy then becomes the golden age. So these terms are clearly suffusing the new Trump administration, right? Like this is all the same stuff that comes from Stargate is in the Stargate AI, which is a huge overpayment of $500 billion. People don't say nice things about Altman at all. Like or Ellison, actually.
Or the stuff that Ellison, the comments that they need the digital platform for all healthcare records, which they've already built. That's Operation Tiberius Kirk. Palantir already has it. They already have it. So it's like it's already done. So
here's that Angela Ford. I don't want to talk about the crucifixion. I'd rather not. Yeah, there's Trump. But yeah, I don't have the Palmer Lucky video, unfortunately. I don't
Let me
know
see if
what
I can
do.
find it.
Okay, that'd be great.
That one was
Tucker Carlson, man, I got real unnerved about Carlson too. Like, there's a lot he's not talking about. I mean,
oh yeah, we've done one of the best shows that we ever done. Are you sucker for Tucker? You came up with that, with the phrase, and there's still more since then. It never stops with Tucker.
Pilgrim Society never admits. This is a huge that's a huge influence operation. Is that the Pilgrim Society on the U.S. with so many names? These old line,
both him and his father.
Names.
Pilgrim Society.
Who's that?
So, both him and his father, Carlson.
Yeah, that's right.
Tucker and Dick Carlson.
That's right. Here's another 2025, the Disclosure Project briefing document 2025 by Stephen Greer.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys are 2025ers. This is an interesting one. I found this Zach Bell. I don't know where he got it, but they found a picture at Esalen, and who's at Esalen is Grush, this disclosure guy. Like, the fact that he's at Esalen should just discount him as anything to do with UFO. So these are the light workers. These are these people like probably out there fulfilling their obligations to these kind of like New Agers.
Yes, to Lucius Trust. Yes, to the Theosophical Society, whether they realize it or not.
Yeah.
A lot of them have no idea. They're brought into the deception, and they don't realize that the evil that they do, thinking they're doing good when they're doing evil. I sent you the clip of Palmer Lucky. This one's been going around. It's pretty famous. Dude, Palmer Lucky's horrible. Like, we should pray for him. He is deeply deceived. He invented the Oculus. The Oculus is there's Oculus version now being used by the United States government. He completed the virtual border wall through Andrew Industries during the Biden administration. Okay, where he thought they were building a physical wall. No, they were building a biometric wall. That was always the thing. All right. He also developed many drones that were used in the Ukrainian-Russian war by Ukraine. Andrew Industries redid drone warfare. There's very clips that you can watch with him and who was the former? I can't believe I'm drawing a blank name on his Lloyd Austin of him discussing drone warfare. And Palmer Lucky is bloodthirsty. Like, he developed a version of the Oculus, only one. No, where you can play a video game. If you die in a video game, the Oculus kills you.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Just had this.
Are you ready for this? Should I play it?
Mm-hmm.
Lockstep narrative. Palmer Lucky is a racist, misogynist, which is so funny. I'm actually a radical Zionist.
What is a radical Zionist?
I strongly believe in the right of Israel to exist as a Jewish state. People are like, that's so problematic, though. It's so ethno-state adjacent. I say, I don't care. After what happened to them in World War II, they deserve a place where they can do their own thing and protect their own people without getting wrecked by everybody else who hates them. And you know what? Maybe someday everyone who hates Jews are going to be gone. We are not living in that world today. And people, it's a slippery slope, though. If they can have it, why can't the KKK have their own state? I say, that's not going to happen. It's absurd for us to even have this discussion. It is very reasonable for the Jews to have a place that is theirs. And they say, oh, but what about the Palestinians? You know what? That's a separate political issue. Like, the existence of a Jewish state, which is what Zionism is, the belief that they have the right to a Jewish state, the existence of a Jewish state, is separate from the issue of what do you do with refugees from some physical area.
Are you Jewish?
No, I'm not Jewish. I just believe in the existence of a Jewish state.
Just refugees. They don't belong there at all in the slightest bit. Just refugees, William. Just refugees.
It's very interesting. These are an interesting set of characters. Like, we got one set of rogues out of the administration and got a new, different kind of, techno, new age group of people in. Like, wow. These are really strange days. Like, it happens so fast. It's like one set of cockroaches, the light got turned on, and one set of cockroaches ran under the refrigerator, and then some other ones started creeping out. Like, what's going on?
Exactly, yeah.
It feels like that to me.
And the Kardashian family, pushing the generic Kardashian family pushing the, UFO op here, right? So
it's like, that's the whole thing, is like, there's a agenda behind this UFO stuff, and that's what people have to understand, and that it overlaps with this kind of Luciferian agenda. There's no question about it. It's like a nice sugar-coated wrap on a really dark, evil, this being of light. right? Lucifer is the bringer of light, the light bringer. It's very dark. These are all Stephen Greer, who I'm showing right here. Like, I have to find the video of one of his videos where the lightning bolt hits the tree at the intro, because that is so deeply satanic that, like, people saw that they would blow their minds. And I think that iconography is in this guy's book, Bledsoe's book or something. I'm not really sure. A burning tree. The burning tree is Satan. The Satan fell from heaven. Christ says, I saw him fall from heaven like lightning. It's not verbatim. But according to the Satanists, and Leary has said this, and all these Luciferians, they've said this, is they invert the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So that's what God is keeping from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. But the Satanists always get rid of the good and evil part. So it's the tree of knowledge. God is keeping you from the tree of knowledge, and the light bringer is bringing you that knowledge. And that is, there's if somebody's out there listening to this, it's in the intro to one of Greer's things, this whole thing. And it gets really dark. There's some really, really dark people who use this burning tree iconography and really, like, I can talk to you offline. I got to find this guy's book.
Okay, yeah, as a
order of 9 angles, level of evil type
wow,
stuff.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. Because as a former Gnostic, you would believe you almost believe. I didn't believe Lucifer was a good guy but I still worship Lucifer in some capacity as a Gnostic, as a light worker. You are, even if you're deluded into thinking that you're not. So it's interesting. You have Satanism, but you have Luciferianism, right? So you have light workers, but you also have kind of like Order of the Nine Angles direct Satanists, right? Kind of like, but they're both wicked. They're both wicked.
Right. What's the producer's name who is he's such a really I can't even remember his name, but he uses the burning tree too. There's a big Hollywood producer who has a name I can't remember right now. Frankenheimer or something like that.
I don't know. Let's see here.
Is there anything else that we should cover? We're about the
I guess real quick, he had Joe Lionsdale on, which is the co-founder of Palantir. He had Lee Strobel on, who I believe is a genuine born-again Christian, but it's, again, for him to say, I had one of the biggest Christian-selling authors on my show, and it's like, yeah, well,
right.
it's just to be able to say that, right? So,
right, interesting. Yeah, he has these different guests and stuff like that.
He had Pete Hegseth on before he was.
Oh, right. So he had Hegseth on before he became.
Before he was nominated. I wanted to make that known.
And he's I think he's a knight of the of the sepulcher. Like, that's the tattoo that's on his chest.
He had Tulsi Gabbard. He had JD Vance on. Wow. He had Kash Patel on. So there's some clips from the Kash Patel episode. He had Donald Trump on. He had Donald Trump, then he had Kash Patel on. Wow. He had Eric Prince on multiple times. He pushed Eric Prince's phone multiple times. He had RFK Jr. on. He had Tucker on, as you showed. Vivek Ramaswamy. He's had Vivek on twice. Jordan Peterson on once. Maybe more. But yeah, I mean,
here's one. The guy's name is Jerry Bruckheimer. I just remembered his name. Watch this. This is like, you're being subjected to heavy duty Luciferians when you watch a Bruckheimer film. I mean, I'm sorry, people, but this is Satan. This is like the hardest hardcore kind of Luciferians.
You know what? I've seen that opening many times.
Watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember it now.
Lightning hits the tree and it becomes floor. That's total Satanism, man.
Wow.
Yeah. This guy, Bruckheimer, he worked with another guy who was super duper dark. His name was something in Bruckheimer Productions. But like, this guy was like a walking pharmacy doing drugs all day. And I'm trying to remember what his name. I'm getting old, man. My facility with names isn't as good as it used to be. But anyway, Bruckheimer's one of them. Bruckheimer's definitely one of them. Don Simpson was his name. You ever hear of Don Simpson?
No, not offhand.
Good. You're lucky. Don Simpson was a monster, but it was Simpson Bruckheimer at one point. They produced Flashdance, Beverly Hills Cop, Top Gun, and The Rock.
Which sucks because I will always have a soft spot for Beverly Hills Cop movie series, and even watch the newest one on Netflix. Nice. So it is what it is. It's part of my childhood.
Yeah, mine too. Those are good ones.
And then he had the fraud Billy Carson, who got exposed by Wesley Huff as a fraud. He had Chris
Billy
Miller
Carson,
on.
Who's that? Remind me of that. I don't know.
He's kind of like a new age, advanced technology pusher. He runs Forbidden Knowledge Inc. He has the compendium of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, but as Wes Huff, correctly stated, it's a fraudulent modern document,
Right. Now I know who that is. Wesley Huff is like a Christian apologist.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, I saw him on Rogan. Yeah. I didn't
and he had Christopher Miller on a few times, who was former Secretary of Defense, which is interesting that he was able to. He's had a lot of high up people, of course, talking about Donald Trump as well too, is quite interesting. So, I mean, I would definitely watch the people that Shawn Ryan is platforming. For sure.
I would too. They are very interesting. One of the other things of the lady that kind of like I knew because it's in my book with Children of the Beast. This is like, you've heard of the infamous Babylon working, right?
Yes.
Babylon is the lady. They talk about Lady Babylon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this I will read from my book about this. This is Hubbard and Parsons.
Okay.
Ceremony, which likely aided by narcotics and hallucinogens, required Hubbard to channel the female deity of Babylon as Parsons performed the invocation of Wand. Parsons typically invoked twice a night. Quote, make a box of blackness at 10 o'clock. Smear the vessel with contains flame with thine own blood. Destroy at the altar a thing of value. Remain in perfect silence and heed the voice of Our Lady. Speak not of this ritual of her or of her coming to any person. Display thyself to Our Lady. Dedicate thy organs to her. Dedicate thy heart to her. Dedicate their mind to her. Dedicate thy soul to her. For she shall absorb thee, and thou shalt become living flame before she incarnates. So I think they're talking about the same lady. That's what I think.
Yeah, some sort of demon.
Demon creature.
Yeah, and you have with Babylon working, we talked about a possible Aquino, being the possible moonshot. I've also heard Trump as well too, possibly too. There's been allegations about Trump as well, So I mean, again, you say your memory's waning. Your memory's still pretty sharp there, William.
Well, I remember stuff, not names as well, but I still remember some of the facts. But sometimes the names don't come to.
I have problems with numbers. I still do. So,
well, we all have our benefits, and they're not as good as other things. It's just the way it is. John, anything else you'd like to add? We are at the hour mark.
I think I got nothing. Definitely support William's work. I've been a long time Patreon of William. Happy Patreon. Purchases books as well too. I'm going to give you a shameless plug, William. I definitely appreciate your research and definitely appreciate you having me on again, brother.
Likewise, I appreciate you. I appreciate your research. Check out your Substack. You're putting out tons of material because I get notifications as somebody who follows you. Like, you're putting out stuff daily, almost like 4 or 5 times a week. So I'll put a link to your Substack.
Thank you.
And if you send me a link I'll see if I can find your YouTube channel.
You search We've Read the Documents, it'll come back up. Unless I've been banned again, it should come right back up. So
you can see all this work and all the things that John has done about Bailey, externalization of the hierarchy, Barbara Marx Hubbard, and this ties into it. Like, when I was watching this, I'm like, this is it. Like, it's not something in some book. This is it. This is.
And I hadn't seen that clip. It was brought to my attention, on X, through you. Like, it was a big find, especially with me covering the Bledsoes and stuff like that. And you're gonna, whether it happens or not, it does seem like it's going to happen. you do see a lot of people talking about this organization of the hierarchy now in some capacity, you know.
Yeah, no, I've seen some other, I think Courtney Turner did a show on that, something similar to that, and some of these other researchers, but it's, wow, 2025 is going to be an interesting ride, guys. Buckle up, get your seatbelts on, but it's, again, another great episode with John Brisson. We've read the documents. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, sir.